Which means something must have woken her up, and she struck a light to see what the matter was.
What conclusions did the coroner come to?
He investigated the case with great care, but he was unable to find any satisfactory cause of death.
And your evidence would have shown that the door was fastened on the inner side, the windows blocked by shutters, secured every night. It is certain, therefore, that your sister was alone when she met her end.
Yes. Besides, there were no marks of violence upon her.
What about poison?
The doctors examined her for it without success.
What do you think this unfortunate lady died of, then?
It's my belief that she died of pure fear and nervous shock. Though what it was which frightened her, I cannot imagine.
What do you gather from the allusion to a band, a speckled band?
Delirium.
Or some band of people. The gypsies at the plantation, the handkerchiefs they wear around their necks.
These are very deep waters. What happened after your sister's death?
My life was lonelier than ever. Until a month ago, when a dear friend of mine whom I've known for many years did me the honor to ask for my hand in marriage. His name is Mr. Percy Armitage.
And you are to be married within a few weeks. So what prompted you to come here when your life seemed set so fair?
Yesterday, some repairs were started and my bedroom wall was pierced, so that last night I was forced to move into the chamber in which Julia died, to sleep in the very bed in which she slept. Imagine my terror when I was awoken by the same low whistle which had been the herald of her own death.
You lit a lamp?
Yes, but nothing was to be seen. I was too shaken to sleep. I dressed and slipped out of the house. I got a dog cart at the Crown Inn and came to London with the one object of asking your advice.
You did wisely. But have you told me all?
Yes.
You have not, Miss Stoner. You are she, father.
He is a hard man, but he's still the only father I have known.
I'd say it was time for some breakfast.
But there are 1,000 details I desire to know before I decide on a course of action. If we were to come to Stoke Moran today, could we see over these rooms without the knowledge of your stepfather?
As it happens, he spoke of coming to town today on some business.
And the workmen?
I have seen none. We have a woman who comes to clean from the village, but only in the morning. There should be nothing to disturb you.
Excellent, Watson. You're not averse to this trip.
By no means.
Then we will be with you in the early afternoon.
I shall be there for your arrival.
You'll stay for some breakfast, surely.
Thank you, no. My heart has lightened already.
Mrs. Hudson, thank you. But when you combine the ideas of whistles at night, the presence of a band of gypsies on intimate terms, the dying allusion to a speckled band, well, there's good ground to believe that the mystery may be cleared along those lines. Which one of you is Holmes?
My name, sir. But you have the advantage of me.
I am Dr. Grimsby Roylott of Stoke Moran.
Indeed, Doctor. Please take a seat.
I shall do nothing of the kind. I know that my stepdaughter has been here this morning.
For the time of year.
What has she been saying to you?
But I have heard that the crops promise well.
Ah, you put me off, do you? Scoundrel, sir. I've heard of you before. You're Holmes the meddler, Holmes the busybody, Holmes the Scotland Yard Jack in office.
Your conversation really is most entertaining. If you would close the door on your way out, as there is a decided draft.
I will go when I've had my say. Don't you dare to interfere in my affairs. I know that Miss Stoner has been here. I am a dangerous man to fall foul of.
Thank you, Mrs. Hudson. Just another client. What a very amiable person. I may not be quite so bulky, but... Fancy his having the insolence to confound me with the official detective force. This incident gives zest to our investigation.
I only hope our friend won't suffer from her imprudence in allowing that brute to trace her here.
One thought keeps nagging at me, Watson. Roylett's professional life in India. If it was so successful, why would he exchange it for a life of aristocratic penury?
My friend Coombs would know. Coombs was in Calcutta around that time.
Find your friend Coombs and see what you can get from him. I shall walk down to Doctor's Commons, where I hope to get some data which may help us in this matter. Let us meet again at 1, under the clock, at Waterloo Station. That is, if you've finished your breakfast by then. Oh, and your revolver. I would be obliged if you would slip it into your pocket. Neely number 2 is an excellent argument against gentlemen who can twist steel pokers into knots. That and your toothbrush are, I think, all we need. You've seen the will of the deceased wife. Her annual income at the time of her death was a little short of £1,100. But due to the fall in agricultural prices, it is now no more than £750. In case of marriage, could claim £250. So if both girls had married, our beauty, Grimsby Roylott, would have had a mere pittance.
And even one marriage would ruin him.
He had the strongest possible motive. Oh, did you manage to find Coombs?
Yes, I did. He proved rather hard to locate, but I finally managed to get him through Swanson at Bath. He did know Roylott in Calcutta, confirmed what the girl had said, and added one intriguing fact. Now, it seems that a series of robberies had been perpetrated in his house, and suspicion fell on his native butler. Roylott promptly seized the man, and in a fit of anger beat the poor fellow to death. Narrowly escaped a capital sentence, but suffered a long term of imprisonment and returned to this country a morose and disappointed man.
Ah, Watson. It's a wicked. And when a clever man turns his brain to crime, it's the worst of all.
On holiday, are you, gentlemen?
No, we're architects. Taking a look at some of the local houses.
Ah, that's why you wanted Stoke Moran. I didn't think it was for social reasons. You'll be doing business with Dr. Roylott, then?
Yes, I believe that was the name.
If you don't mind a word of warning, you want to take care with him, sir. There's some round these parts say he's not right in the head.
Really?
Only yesterday, Mr. Thorne, the blacksmith, most nasty experience with the doctor. because of those thieving gypsies who are camped in the grounds.
Oh, yes, we've heard about the gypsies and the leopard.
The story goes the doctor threw Mr. Thorne in the stream in a fit of uncontrollable temper. And old Thorne, he's not a small man.
Good Lord. Is he bringing a charge of assault?
He were going to, but Miss Stoner, the doctor's young stepdaughter, paid him some of her own money to keep it quiet. Well, that's what I heard.
Well, I never. Do you hear that, Holmes? The more I see and hear of that young lady, the more my admiration increases. Young woman of commendable spirit.
You can pull up here, driver. Who do you mean, dear fellow?
Well, Miss Stoner, of course. Most admirable. Ah, Miss Stoner.
All has turned out splendid. Roylott has gone to London and he won't be back before the evening.
But we have already had the pleasure of Dr. Roylott's acquaintance.
Has he followed?
Yes. He turned up just after you left, but Holmes sent him off with a flea in his ear.
So cunning, I never know when I'm safe from him.
Well, then he must guard himself. Or he may find someone more cunning than himself upon his track. Shall we?
Holmes, don't you think we ought to get Miss Stoner away from here tonight?
Not an aroused suspicion.
But if he's violent...
We shall be here. So, this is room, this formerly your sister's, and this your room?
Yes, but I'm now sleeping in this one.
Ah, pending the alterations.
Miss Stoner, may I ask something? That's unusual, isn't it? Bedrooms on the ground floor?
Bedrooms were moved downstairs when so much of the house fell into decay.
Oh, yes, of course. How sad.
There seems little need for repairs to this end of the house.
There are none. I believe it was an excuse to move me from my room.
Ah, that is suggestive. Now, Miss Stoner, would you be so kind as to go into the room in which you are now sleeping and bolt the shutters? What are you doing, Watson?
Well, I'm using your methods, Holmes, seeing whether the ground has been disturbed.
What have you come up with?
Your footprints, I believe. Mine and Miss Stoner's. And this.
No one could pass these if they were bolted. Well, let's see if the inside throws any light on the matter. That bell communicating.
It goes to the housekeeper's room.
It looks newer than the other things.
Yes, it was only put there a couple of years ago.
Ah, your sister asked.
I never heard of her using it. We used to get what we wanted for ourselves.
Indeed. You will excuse me while I satisfy myself as to this floor.
It doesn't ring.
It's very strange. A ventilator into another room.
You mean when it might have communicated with the outside air?
That is also quite modern.
Indeed. Miss Stoner, with your permission, we will now carry our research to Dr. Royler's chamber. What's in here?
My stepfather's business papers.
Ah, you've seen inside it, then?
Only once, some years ago. I remember it was full of papers.
Is there a cat in the...
No, what a strange idea.
Well, look at this.
No, we don't keep a